Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're going to do the astrology of the week ahead from February 7th to the 13th. That's Sunday to Saturday. But before I get started on that, I want to thank two of my fans. Two of my friends, Melissa and Marie from California, for sending me some beautiful gifts. They're greatly appreciated. This is one of them. It's a beautiful crystal. It's enormous. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to like wear it because it would be like rap artists wearing those chains, right? Metaphysicians and astrologers and card readers wear these giant crystals. But once we have a sunny day, I intend to put it in the window and I'll show you how it shines. I'm probably going to put it close to the bird feeder so we can see that and the birds at the same time. And they also sent me this, which I absolutely adore. It's a little Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's Justice. Hold on, let me see if I can get it close enough so you can see it. You know me in this camera here. It's not my forte. Okay, just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Sword. No? Okay, hold on. Oh, we almost had it. Oh, goodness gracious. It says Justice on top, and that's Ruth with her glasses. Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry, guys. There we go. Well, I guess you can sort of see that. I can't really tell, it's hard quiet. There we go. Now you can tell. And then on the back, it has RBG 1933 to 2020. You know, 1933, the 30s were a very transformative time in the world. As we know, it was the sort of upcoming years to World War II, also known as the Great War. I don't know if any war is great, but okay, it was certainly big. And then to pass in 2020, very interesting. So she's going to go there with my favorite action figure. I'm going to do a little altar. I think. Well, I have a little altar here, but it's nothing special. They just sit here with me. So, so we'll see when I hang this up. So thank you, ladies. It was very, very special. And there was a card in there that came with it, All Natural Arts. And I don't know if this is their company, All Natural Arts, with a All Natural Arts at AOL.com. And it's Sue Beatrice. So I don't know if they got it from there or this is them. I'm not sure. They didn't give me a lot of information except for their name. So thank you, ladies. It's greatly appreciated. Okay, so that's been done. I said I actually thanked you guys in a previous video, but I didn't have the things. So I wanted to show everybody what you sent. So thank you again. All right. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to start by looking at kind of what the moon is doing, or just in general, the general like theme of the week. This is actually a chart for midnight on February 7th, which is Sunday. At this point, the sun is at around 19 degrees of Aquarius. We can see that it is still within an orb of its conjunction to Jupiter. If you remember, that full moon that we had in Leo was the same day that Jupiter conjoined the sun, and also Pluto conjoined Venus. Pluto's conjoined Venus. And I did say at that time that we would start to see things moving in the direction of helping people. And, you know, as we sit here more and more things are getting started. The Senate finally got the gavel, I guess. They got their power. It was sort of handed over, which was supposed to, they were supposed to do that before, but they had to wait, I guess, play their reindeer games. And so now we're seeing a lot of things sort of happening, and they're going to be using budget reconciliation. And while Biden tried to talk to Republican leaders, he seemed to only have three, I think he said, Republicans who were willing to vote with him. And so he decided that they had to do the nuclear option, as it were, and they put Bernie on the job. So things are happening. Birds flying. And then at the same time, of course, we have the Republicans going through their own transformational process, trying to figure out what's more important, winning elections or figuring out who they are. Chances are they're not going to win elections until they figure out who they are, but that's just my feeling about it. So, all right, so let's get started with Sunday. So the moon at midnight on Sunday, midnight, 1 minute past midnight, perhaps on Sunday, the moon is in Sagittarius. It's been in Sagittarius, it would have been in Sagittarius since Friday. So all weekend it was in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a very hopeful sign, and so we come into this new week, this Sunday, with this certain amount of feeling. A hopeful and more optimistic. It's very much an optimistic energy, Sagittarius. It just did come off the south node of the moon. The south node of the moon is a release point, and in Sagittarius, it's about letting go of beliefs, perhaps, that we had, things that we said we believed in, that it was time to sort of let go, reevaluate, and then move on. And so we've seen actually that in the outer world as well. We have the Mercury, of course, still retrograde. It's now at 22 degrees of Aquarius and moving backwards. And Mars is actually still square Jupiter, still square the Sun, and square, it's still widely square to Mercury, which is moving backwards. So we will have an exact square at some point. And it's square Pallas Athena in Aquarius. Remember, Pallas Athena is the goddess of social justice. And so things are moving. We're finally moving forward, despite the fact that Mercury in Aquarius is retrograde. Okay, so let's move this forward a day. Let me just double check and make sure there's nothing that we need to be aware of concerning that particular day, any exact aspects. So let me take a look here. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to forward this in 3-hour increments, and we can, you want to keep an eye on the moon here. We're going to see that the moon does shift. There it is. It'll sort of go 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours like that. You can follow it that way. 27 of Sag, 29 of Sag, and then it moves into Capricorn. So then we have the moon in Capricorn for 2.5 days. And the moon in Capricorn is really an energy of being held accountable and being responsible. Capricorn requires us to be responsible. And so on this day, we actually have Monday the 8th. Oh, we're still in February since. Oh no, this is still, I'm sorry. I'm still figuring out how to do this, guys. My apologies. We're still in on Sunday. So we have the moon, yes, the moon shift into Capricorn at 3:53 p.m. on the east coast of the US. And then come Monday, we have the moon continuing to move through Capricorn at 8, let's see what time is it here? At 8:48 a.m. And we'll just move this forward until we can get to that. We're in the 8th now. We can see the moon moving through Capricorn. There it is, Capricorn. 11 of Capricorn, 13. And when we get to, oops, I went back too far. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, let's try this again, guys. Don't look, you're probably getting nauseous, right? It's 9 o'clock. Okay, so 9 o'clock we have here, we can go back a little. Let's go back 30 minutes. Let's see if we can get back to, okay, here we go. This is Mercury retrogrades back into the sun. So this is called Kissimmee, under the rays of the sun. Actually, I believe all of the planets are under the rays of the sun. All the Aquarius planets are actually invisible at this time because they're so close to the sun that the brightness of the sun obscures the other planets. Of course, if we had an eclipse of the sun, you would see those other planets like right in alignment with where the sun is, but that's not what's happening now. But you would be able to see it if we could somehow like put something in front of the sun, right? But as I understand what that means is it means that we are, that there's what's being seen, and then there's all this other stuff happening behind the scenes. And certainly we can see that, happening. And of course, Aquarius deals with science and technology. So there's a lot of science and technology going around. There's a lot of humanitarian endeavor, a lot of shifts. I think here in this country, in relation to other countries in the world, I think people are seeing America sort of come back out of its the dark days that were the Trump administration. And we'll say we're changed, we're different, we're wounded, we're limping, but we are, we'll see how we do with that, right? Okay, so the conjunction between the sun and Mercury retrograde is actually the highlight of the Mercury retrograde cycle. And so it's important as to what, all right, let's see, this is, okay, let me see, I think we go this way. I'm just gonna see when it's exact and see where that sits. Okay, we're almost there. I'm going like 3 minutes at a time. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, 8:40, it says 8:49 a.m. So we have an exact conjunction, and this is in 21 degrees of Aquarius. See, 2001, you round that off to 21. So when we look at the Sabian symbols for this degree, and I will pull that up shortly here. So here we have the chart for the conjunction between Mercury and the sun at 21 degrees of Aquarius. The Sabian symbol, a disappointed and disillusioned woman courageously faces a seemingly empty life. The keynote here is the capacity to meet emotionally upsetting experiences in human relationships with strength of character and personal integrity. Um, it says a man who manages vast and complex business enterprises most often reaches power and achieves success because of his ability to deal with the crises and temporary reverses of fortune. At the emotional level, we now see a woman confronted with sharp disappointment and forced to face the vanishing cherished illusions, presumably in terms of close personal relationship. She has to learn to manage such crises, which are really tests of inner strength and perhaps compassion. We all have within ourselves the power to learn through emotional crises. Be like any other faculty, it needs to uh, be like any other faculty, it needs development. It urges us to develop resilience under adversity. Very interesting symbol about around disillusionment and facing um, perhaps these emotional crises that we are experiencing. When Mercury and the sun conjoin, it really is the time when Mercury is closest to the Earth, um, sitting between the Earth and the sun. And it is a time when we have to look deep within. It is the highlight of the Mercury retrograde cycle. And so we have to look at the things that we have experienced. And then perhaps how do we take that? How do we find the courage and the resilience to move forward, even though it seems like everything is lost? That is the question of this Mercury retrograde. How do we move forward? And this is an opportunity for you to look at that within your life, within your own personal life, and perhaps within the life of a country or a situation. So that is it's very powerful. This is kind of setting the stage really for the new moon that's coming on the 11th. So let's continue and see what else we have here. So as we move through the 8th of February, which is Monday, this is an hour at a time, and we follow the moon. Where is the moon here? Here's the moon at 12 degrees of Capricorn. The moon will make a conjunction to Pluto. Of course, this happens every month. The moon makes a conjunction to Pluto. It's sort of a reset on our deepest desires, a reset in our relationship to power. And it's getting closer and closer. Let's see. Right about there, I think. There we go. So we have the moon make a conjunction to Pluto. At the same time, we have Chiron in Aries making a sextile to Saturn. Saturn in Aquarius. This occurs shortly after we have this conjunction. And this sextile is one in which we are opening the lines of communication. And Chiron in Aquarius, Chiron in Aries is the wounds of the individual, right? It's a wounding of our identity, or it's a wounding of our purpose, or the whole point of like, what's even the point of living, kind of thing. Chiron in Aries, and the sextile to Saturn is the opening of the lines of communication so that we can build the type of foundations that can help to alleviate the suffering, perhaps, or create a structure so that an individual can sort of re-enter society, become a useful and a cooperative sort of member of society. It's like a doors opening and saying, come in, we know that you have been out there fighting the fight. Now it's time to come in, and we will help you to build your life back. right? Build your life back. So there's that kind of energy with this sextile that we're seeing on the 9th as well. Okay, so let's continue on here and go to the next day. Well, let's actually do this. Let's continue. Let's do more than 1 hour because it'll take too long. Let's say 5 hours. Why not? All right. So now we're here. Oh, that's interesting. We also have on the 9th a conjunction between the Sun and Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena, the goddess of social justice. And so that those areas, the areas of social justice, are being illuminated at this time. Okay, let's continue on here. Now we're in the 10th. We have the moon. Where is the moon here? Now I can't even find the moon. Moon is in Aquarius, making a conjunction to Saturn, So what's going to happen now is the moon is going to make conjunctions to Saturn, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Pallas Athena, the sun, as it moves through Aquarius. When it gets to the sun, which is happening on the 11th, we have the new moon. So let's take a look. This is going 5 hours ahead. Oh, this is going to be hard to look at here, I think. Here's the moon. It's past Saturn. It's moving closer to Venus. We're on the 10th now. Well, maybe we were on the 10th before. Here's the moon making a conjunction to Jupiter, and this looks like it might be happening. Well, it's not quite ready to happen yet. So they might be happening in the 6th house. Could happen in the 5th house as well. So this is helping the military, helping children, just, that energy. All right. And now we're at February 11th, and we're going to look at, so this is February 11th at like 3:50 in the morning here on the East Coast. We can see the moon is getting closer and closer. It's going to make a conjunction to Pallas Athena, and then it's going to move on to the sun. So let's take a look at the new moon chart and get a little bit more specific on that new moon. Okay, so here we go. This is the chart for the new moon in Aquarius. We can see this is occurring at 24 degrees of Aquarius. It is conjunct the Pallas Athena, the goddess of social justice, and widely conjunct Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. Let's see here. We have Neptune. Okay, that's going retrograde. All right. So so this is a very interesting new moon for a number of reasons. First of all, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planetary placements, 7 if you include Pallas Athena, all in Aquarius. What's interesting is that it's sandwiched between Pluto and Neptune. This is the energy of Pluto and Neptune are transpersonal. Neptune is about unity and it's spirit, it's oneness, it's the dissolution of boundaries. And then, of course, Pluto is the planet of transformation, of death and rebirth. And so we have both of these sort of collective planets in these signs associated with some of our most collective issues. There, this time of year, usually there is a sort of a pileup in the collective signs being the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th house, which is Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Sagittarius as well, But Sagittarius isn't quite as collective. Sagittarius is trying to figure out the best way to approach collectivism in a way. So we have all of this energy, and with all of this Aquarius energy, Aquarius really is about taking care of. I am my brother and sister's keeper. So that is the energy, and it's very, very powerful and very, very potent. This new moon is actually square, I believe, a lot of Joe Biden's planets. So this is squares bring activity, squares bring action. And if I'm remembering correctly, it is a crisis in action to his planet, a crisis in action. So he is taking action. Let's look at the Sabian symbol for 24 degrees of Aquarius. Now, I have done this in my monthly, so I'm saying maybe similar things that I did in my monthly February monthly astrology, but there are some things that, so a few different points here. It says, a man having overcome his passions. Is this real 24? Yep, okay. A man having overcome his passions teaches deep wisdom in terms of his experience. The constructive use to which difficult past experiences can put as an example for those who are still striving to overcome their passions. Every type of experience can be made to serve a spiritual purpose. Every man or woman, however humble his or her status, can be an example to younger people who are still struggling to overcome or control the compulsive drives of their emotional biological natures. Whoever has managed a difficult performance contributes to the collective wisdom of his community and mankind. Every achievement is to be passed on to those who may be inspired by the greater and more adequate efforts. And the key word here is communicability. Communicability. It says here, it is the responsibility of anyone who has taken one step ahead in his evolution to help others take their step. This is true education. So I often talk in my readings or anytime I have the opportunity about shining your light, and really that's what this is. And you may think that what light can I shine? I'm just so and so. My experiences are like everybody else's experiences, and yet we experience. It's so funny. Today on Facebook, I had a quote that I made up. Let me read it to you because it's I'm not usually one to read my Facebook quotes to you guys, but I want to do this. So today on Facebook, you know how you put things on and then years later they come back up and they say, do you want to restate it or re-put it up? And on February 5th of 2014, and let me tell you about 2014 and 2015, two of the most difficult years of my life. I had Pluto opposing my sun and Uranus squaring my sun simultaneously. The cardinal square was alive and well in my chart. And then I had other things battering other parts of there wasn't a part of my chart that wasn't getting pummeled. And I wrote this. It says, knowledge can come from books, but wisdom only comes through experience. Me. And that's it. Our wisdom comes through our experiences. And so share your experience. Be open about your experiences. If you see somebody young having an issue and it's an issue that you had, and while you may not be all that comfortable talking about it, you can say, hey, look, I've been there and this is what I did. And, it does get better. And, whatever it is that you have to say to them, or it's going to be harder, or whatever it is, whatever your experience can help somebody who needs the help. Now, a lot of times we try to give our advice to people who aren't willing to listen. And, that's sort of, you have to wait till they're ready. You have to wait till they're ready. But you'd be surprised at how your story can affect others. And I'm brought to the idea of, I watched AOC's, I think it was an hour and a half. She spoke about what happened in the Capitol and her experience and what it brought up for her and the trauma. And, and all of that. And it was just very, very, we were learning from her experience. Um, and the fact that she had the courage to talk about it and, so openly, that I think that's what we need. We need to open the lines of communication, right? We need to open those lines of communication and see what it is that we have, what we have learned through our own experience and how that can help other people. We are our brothers and sisters keepers, after all. This huge, huge humans. Hi, Katie. Inside joke. This giant cluster of planets in Aquarius. The only planet of the classical planets. The classical planets are the planets that go from Saturn to the Sun, right? Of all the classical planets that we have, the only one that's not in Aquarius is Mars. And I'm sorry, right, Mars. And Mars is squaring all of these planets, squaring them. And of course, Mars is in Taurus, and Uranus, the ruler of all these Aquarius planets, are also in Taurus. And now Mars and Uranus are separated enough so their conjunction, that conjunction that occurred on Inauguration Day, is now out of orb of the conjunction, but it is still sort of, the energy is still, it's still being driven forward. It's being driven forward. So it's almost like a team of horses, like pulling this cart, or this the new sort of structure of things, just coming, powering down the road, so to speak. So change is here, and we are, yep, we are changing and changing and changing. Okay. So I said to my husband today, I was like, I don't know, I just feel super optimistic. We'll see how long that lasts. But can you feel it? Can you feel the shift and change? Okay, so now we're on the 12th, which is Friday. And we can see that the sun, the moon is starting to move away from the sun. And we have some, let's just move this an hour at a time. And we can see what is going on. Now we see that the moon has moved into Pisces. Okay, now the moon moves into Pisces Friday early morning on the east coast of the US. So the energy shifts. It's been very Aquarian, it's been very sort of scientific, it's been very mental, and now we move into the energy of Pisces, and the moon moves through Pisces. It's going to, let's see here. So we're here on the 12th, which is Friday. We're moving it 5 hours ahead here. And we have a, see, this is 9 a.m. This is 2:49 a.m. And we can see that Mercury and Venus are getting close to a conjunction here. Mercury is retrograding back to Venus. And there was something else that I want to point out on Friday. The moon is making a sextile to Uranus, and this, it's going to go past it if the next time I click, but it's making this sextile to Uranus. Now the moon is actually moving closer to Uranus. So at one point in the month, Uranus, the moon made a conjunction to Uranus, and then it moved all the way around until it got to here. So this is a sextile. It's a sextile that has an Aquarian energy. And so this can be an illumination of something. This can actually be relief from the financial challenges, Uranus and Taurus, and the upheaval that we have been going through. This is sort of acts a little bit like a bomb, BALM, not BOMB, although with Uranus, you never know. All right, so, and then we move into Saturday, the 13th. And on Saturday, the major, hold on, the major aspects is that conjunction between Mercury and Venus, Mercury retrograde moving to a conjunction to Venus. We have the sun, the moon still in Pisces, making a square to the nodes of the moon. And towards the end of the day, we have Mars making a sextile to Neptune. So let's take a look at that as we move forward here. Okay, so let's see, Venus. Okay, here we have the conjunction. It's still not quite there, but it's going to be there by the time we click over here. Oops, here we go. All right, see, it's already, oh no, it still hasn't happened. Still retrograding. Is it? Or did it go past? It went past. It went past. Okay. And then we have, let's see, in the evening, we have Mars making a sextile to Neptune. Here's Neptune. Here's Mars. It actually just happened. What is this? 1:49 a.m. Oh, this is on Sunday. So it happens late on Saturday evening. This is actually this aspect here is also a sextile, but it has a Gemini flavor. So Mars is moving away from its conjunction to Neptune, And because we had a Mars retrograde period during the time, from the time we had it make a conjunction to Neptune to this first sextile, Mars has spent a lot of time in this space in between. So between Neptune and where Mars sits now. So there's been a lot of sort of moving forward and then having to step back and moving forward. And Mars and Neptune really is the energy of compassion. And it can be also delusional and illusional, but there's an idealism around Neptune, and Mars is taking that message really of idealism and moving it forward in a very sort of practical way, Taurus, so that we can do what needs to be done to bring ease and support and comfort to people. So there's a lot of that energy right now. The energy has shifted, people, and we are not out of the woods. We have a lot of work to do, but at least now the door is open and the light is shining. So if you want to take anything from this week, is that this is what forward motion feels like. However, we do have to remember that Mercury is still retrograde. And so it's more important to a certain extent that the information that you get, you run through your internal filters. Run it through your internal filters. And understand that this is the time of working together within community, helping one another in whichever way we can. And we've kind of been doing that anyway, but we've been doing it despite the people in power trying to prevent us from doing it to a certain extent. Now those who sign the papers, so to speak, are looking in the direction of getting us out of this dark period that we're in and moving closer and closer to the light. And here in the United States, we still have our Pluto return ahead of us toward 2022, 2023, and then after that, our Chiron return, 2024 and 2025. So we're not quite out of, it's not like things are going to miraculously, go, ooh, the sun is out and everything's in the birds are chirping. I mean, that's going to happen in some places. It happens here, the sun comes out, the birds chirp. It probably happens in your backyard as well. But collectively, I feel like we're moving in a much different direction. And there has been a very powerful shift. The other thing I want to mention, and I've mentioned this many times before, and I'm noticing that other people are saying it as well, other astrologers or other mediums or other spiritual wisdom keepers, um, is that it's so very important what you focus on now. It's so very important. And so don't waste your time on focusing on things that are going to bring you back to a negative past. You want to focus on healing and moving forward, and co-creating with the universe in such a way that, you know, we rebuild better. Not necessarily back better, but just better. All right, guys. Next is the card reading. So just give me a moment. I'll be right back and have my cards out. Hi, I'm back. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Tarot of the Spirit. I haven't used those in a long time. I've had this deck a long time. It is the deck that goes along with this book. And I always show this book because you can see it's well read, right? But Tarot of the Spirit by Pamela Eakins. She does the writing, and I think her mother is the one who did all the art in this. So I think that's pretty cool. Mother and daughter team. It's been out for years. It's a great, great deck, and it's a great book. A lot of really good information if you're interested in the Kabbalah and tarot. In fact, it's one of the books I suggest people get when I teach Kabbalah and tarot, which I am going to start a Kabbalah class. I just have to pick a time. I said I wanted to start it on the 11th, but the 11th, this is Thursday, and I have my astrology class this Thursday. It's the last class. We're going to be continuing now. So, all right. We're going to continue on with the astrology, and we're going to start with the Kabbalah. So I'm excited about it. It's just a matter of, time really for me. Okay, we're almost ready. We're almost there. So this is the week ahead. We're going to do a truncated Celtic cross, unless, of course, I feel the need that we need to pull more cards, and then we will. No hard and fast rules here. I have too much Aquarius and too much Uranus on my in my chart. I think I'll share with you as I'm shuffling here. I told this story to my students the other night, and they got a kick out of it. So I thought I'd share it with you. I went grocery shopping with my husband. We have to sort of. He drops me off at one store. He goes to another store. And then we meet up in the parking lot. My mother, being 100, we can't leave her for a long time. And we had a lady here who's, helps her. We have girls come twice a week that help her. And they happen to be here. And so we have a couple of hours that we can get out. But it's only like 2.5 hours, 3 hours at the most. So we have to do what we have to do very quickly. So one of the places we like to go to is Trader Joe's, but it's about a half hour from the house. So we have to sort of plan to go. So I'm on the line at Trader Joe's, and there's the guy who, the cashier, and then there's a woman standing next to him that's putting stuff in the bags, the bagger, I guess. And she's like, oh, you have to stand in the box. And I look down on the floor, and there's this little box that's, taped off. So I was like, oh, okay. So I stepped into, I didn't know the box was there. So I stepped on into the box. And then like one of my bags fell on the ground. So I stepped out of the box. I bent over. I mean, just like 1 foot out of the box. I bent over to give her, oh, no, don't do that. Don't you stay in the box. She said, stay in the box. So then I like moved a little bit, and she's like, you have to stay in the box. And I was like, You cannot ask somebody who's got a South Node in Aquarius and Uranus on her ascendant to stand in a box. I don't know. I've never stood in a box. I've never been defined by a box. I am outside of the box. But I did realize, and I got to the point where I was like, if she tells me to stand in the box one more time, I'm going to take this loaf of bread, which I didn't do. And then I realized that she's an essential worker and that she's afraid and there are rules and she feels safer that there are rules and that people have to stand in the box. So I stopped taking it personally, but I thought it was pretty interesting that they're expecting people to stay in boxes at a time when Uranus and Aquarius is just replete. There's no standing in boxes, guys. So I understand that there was a lot of chaos with the last administration, and they are trying to get some order to the chaos. But we have to be very careful that we don't let the order take over and have that become the new prison. So let's just be aware of that. Be understanding of one another. Don't hit anybody over the head with a loaf of bread, even if you want to, because they're telling you to stand in the box. Let's try to walk in each other's moccasins and give each other a little latitude. Give each other a little latitude. She could have given, I was wearing a mask. She was wearing a mask. I wasn't touching anything. She didn't have to be so virulent. But I didn't bop her over the head with the baguette because I stepped back from it and I said, this is her domain. I'm only here for like 3 minutes. But that being said, if you look down, I had a couple of toes outside of the box because for my own edification, for my ability to stand still, I had to have a few toes out of the box. So, all right. So this is the immediate environment, the 7 of fire. This is the courage card, And so you know, that woman who told me to stand in the box was pretty courageous in that she spoke up for herself. You know, she spoke up for the rules, but that she's out, you know, that she was an older woman and, you know, probably a higher risk only through her age, right? So, you know, people are being courageous. People are doing what they need to do. You look at the people in the Congress and in the Senate and still doing their jobs despite the fact that there was, you know, like, what was it, 29 days ago, there was or 30 days ago, they went through a highly traumatic moment, and they still do their job, right? And what are you doing? Where are you showing courage every day? Just getting up in the morning and facing another day, looking at 4 walls, not knowing what your future is like, what it's going to look like, what's going to happen. It takes a lot of courage. And so I applaud all of you who are sitting here watching me. I applaud all of you those who aren't sitting here watching me and are out there working. A lot of courage. Let's see what's challenging that. The mountain that we climb, the hill that we climb, right? The eight of earth, the mountain. The challenge is the challenge, right? It's the financial challenge. It's the structural challenges. It's the hard climb that we have to take. We have to really exert ourselves. That's the challenge to our courage. But I find that when those things come up, we tend to have more courage. That's just my feeling about it. Oh, yes, here we go. At the core, the magician. The magician, as above, so below. What you focus on becomes your reality. Again, I said that, didn't I? I'm so good. Just kidding. I mean, not kidding. I am good. But that was a joke. Yeah, so at the root of it is the magician. You are the magician. Take all the elements, take all 4 elements and master them. Master your mind, master your concentration, master your focus so that you can manifest what it is that you want to manifest in your life. In the past, the great mystery. This feels to me like we have gone up a level. I don't know if anybody here watches Shri and Kira, but Shri and Kira, the official Shri and Kira on YouTube, they are they always seem about 10 to 20 years ahead when it comes to reading the energy. I've been watching them for years. They have saved my life more than once just by what they're saying and what they're doing. Um, when I when I got to the point where I was like, what the F is going on? I'd go see Shri and Kira, and they would always have something to say that helped, that gave me perspective, that lifted me to a higher level. And this card sort of reminds me, because they're talking now about evolution in concentric rings. We're evolving through concentric rings, which is the way we evolve anyway. And this is the mystery card in the past. And I almost feel like with the mystery card in the past doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the present moment and how you focus your energy. That's all that matters. What's in the sky? The tower, illumination, illumination. Um, this week is the impeachment. I know I did a reading on the impeachment, and at some point I called it the inauguration. Sorry, it begins with an I, but anyway, this could be the impeachment. We could actually see the great fall of the orange guy. But that being said, this is also a time of great illumination and change. And despite our best efforts, there are things in our lives that we might not be able to hold on to and keep. And those things, if they go away, if they fall away, it is time for them to fall away. There are no, this is not against you. This isn't to punish you. It's not that energy. It's to remind you of who you are at the core. Where is your power? What do you stand for? And is what you stand for really worth standing for, or is there something deeper yet? So this is, the magician at the bottom and the tower at the top, very, very powerful. And in the immediate future, we have convergence. This is coming together, people. I feel as though there is a coming together of opposites here. I feel that people will be, we've gone as far apart almost as we can. And now I feel like there's a coming together for a common cause or a common purpose. And I think that common purpose, quite frankly, is survival. Survival. So, yeah, so I had to pull some more. We have the Chariot card here. We're on the path of our evolution, domestic situation, clarity. We are seeing things clearly. Hopes and fears that we can master the challenges ahead. And the outcome is the Four of Water. This is the grief, There's a lot of feelings that will be expressed, a lot of sadness, and we have to be courageous enough to face it. We have to be courageous enough to face our shadows. We have to be courageous enough to face our own sorrow, our own losses. We can no longer stuff these things. We have to feel our feelings in order to gain insight. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this in the most flowing way, but I'm still a work in progress, but hopefully you got something out of this. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you later tonight when I'm with Marianne from Revealing Light. So enjoy. I'm sure we'll all enjoy that. Much love, everyone. I also have a high tea with Denise coming up. That's going to happen tomorrow. So much love, everyone. Take care as you move through this week. I realize that this week is the week of the impeachment trial. Yes. And there's going to be lots of hoo-ha. So just do what you do, focus on you, focus on what it is you want to bring into this world, and do it. All right, guys. Much love. Have a great week.